Welcome back to GearWire.com. My name is Bill Holland, and we're looking at the BCR2000 with Ableton Live, and how to DJ using Ableton Live with the BCR2000. Now, something I didn't discuss in the first video that I really should have is a lot of people have asked me, how do you set your markers so that your timing is accurate in Ableton Live? Now, obviously, in this new version, they have what's called nudge, where I can do one of two things. I can use the global quantization, which is up here, to set how far I can nudge the clip forward and backwards. So, for example, if I'm playing this DJ Assault remix, see, I can skip forward a bar. But if I set it to a 16th, I can go forward a 16th or backwards a 16th. And this can be assigned to any control you have. So if I go into my MIDI edit mode, Control M, I can go in here and hit this, select any button I want. I mean, a lot of times I'll throw it on the fourth encoder group and throw it on these two guys and just put one there and one there. And now when I go back in, just be like, play it back. And again, you can make this even smaller, just for fine adjustments on the fly when you're DJing and your tracks come out of place. Now, this shouldn't happen, but I have had this happen before. I recently was playing an Audion track, and Matthew Deere always has kind of a funky timing that's really cool, but sometimes minimal, I've had problems where the snares will hit in the wrong place, at least how Ableton warps it, so I'll have to readjust using this tool. Again, it's just a really good thing to have set up in case something goes wrong during a set. You never know. Sometimes I'll just set up the markers wrong, and it'll go all out of whack. There was another track, a Lindstrom track I had that got set up the same way, and all I did was just bring it back into place, and it was fine. The really cool thing about computers is it does allow producers to make tracks that don't use normal timings and have strange breakdowns that you wouldn't have seen 10 years ago in songs, because people were so concerned with the DJ. Now it's all about making songs and DJing with the songs, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like it's a lot like spinning records with new wave records, where they're unquantized and you might not expect a sudden change that'll happen. Another thing to keep in mind is there's also the tempo nudge up, which is pretty cool. Control M, again, I'll just overwrite my old controls to show you this. Put one here and one here. What this does is it temporarily speeds up your tempo so you can catch up. So if I place back, hold it down, or slow it down. Something to note, did you notice how this locked in? So this turns it on and off. You want to pay careful attention to that. And then you bring it back down. Again, a little bit clunkier than Serato or Tractor, but really in Ableton Live, if you set up your warp markers correctly, this shouldn't even be an issue. The way to do that, I have my clip open here, go to the first bass kick, or in this case, there's a bass sound effect, and I can hit right-click, warp from here. You have different options too. Warp 120 BPM from here, or warp from here straight. Notice when it's warp 120 BPM, it's completely off. The reason for that is this track was not recorded in 120 BPM. If it had been, that would be a great option to use, but we don't. And you'll see if I do warp from here straight, go over here, it says sequence BPM 134.99. Now, sometimes if you're doing drum and bass, for example, it'll read it at 134.99 when it's really more like it's a higher number. A way to adjust for that is the half to or times 2 button. So you go up to 269. But now it's assuming the original speed was 269, which it's not. It's 134. You might have also had a slower track, like a hip-hop track, and it might have read it too fast and be playing at a drum and bass type speed, so you can slow it down, make it catch up. Another thing you can do is reverse sections of loops. So if I wanted the opening loop to be reversed, I could open with a reverse loop. You wait for it to process. Another really cool effect you can do is by hitting Control M and hitting transpose, then selecting a controller, twiddle it a little bit, get out of here, play back to your file. Notice how it keeps the time while I transpose. Now, one more question I've had a lot of people ask me is sends and returns. How do I set this up? Very simple. A is your return and B is your other return. Right now on channel 1, you'll see I have A and B set up here on my mixer. And I usually use these for things that you want to send like a dry wet signal to, and you want control over the dry and wetness of it. So think of this in terms of the wetness of the signal that you're bringing in. What I usually do is have a reverb and a delay. So I'll get like a ping pong delay, for example, and throw it on A, and then a reverb on B. So what I can do now is, as it plays, unmute the signal. There's my reverb. And again, I can set this up however I want it. Maybe bring the feedback down a little bit. And again, there are a variety of other things you could do with this. You could assign a chorus, you could assign an auto pan, auto filter. There's a variety of ways you could set this up. Now, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to set up your effects, how to not rely on the DJ mixer for everything you want to do to your audio and cut up your audio live on the fly. Also, I'll get into a little bit of looping and how to do really cool intros to your mixes in ways that other people might not normally do. But for now, I'm Bill Holland, and you are watching GearWire.com with the BCR2000 and Ableton Live.